Everything that we were looking to do was just to build a healthy herd. We want to see the best calves that we can have, the best cows that we can have, the best condition, because at the end of the day, they're kind of our pride and joy. My name's Danny Schwab, and we run a mixed herd cow-calf operation of about 300 head, kind of all breeds, and we background a few replacement heifers basically just for our own keeps. We originally actually heard about the product in Agribition in Regina. We were in there, we were a little bit hesitant until our own local co-op got on to selling it, and it gave us the opportunity to buy into it, to be able to start with it, just kind of ease into it, not have to get a whole truckload at a time. Without a doubt, you see that upfront cost, but we just still wanted to give it a try. We weren't that scared of it, because if it's a product that actually does what it says, and a company that stands behind what they say that it does, we were all right to give it a shot. By the time we got home, sat down, penciled out our old tubs, plus the loose mineral that was going into these cows, we were actually saving money by switching to them. By the time we went through our first tubs, we had already offset that extra cost. We were money ahead. There's hands down, it was night and day difference between them. We had been feeding 9 bales a day. We were paying $120 per bale to buy them that year. And after about 2.5 weeks of being on the tubs, we were able to cut out 1 full bale. So, that's $120 per day that we were saving, that we can noticeably see. They might have had a little bit more waste, but we're not trying to cut it down to exact pounds. And so we were able to save that. So $120 was a huge savings to be able to see within the first 2.5 weeks is when we started noticing it. The cows were all laying around, they weren't up trying to graze, trying to forage, looking for more stuff, more feed. So they're just lazying around, and they were doing a lot better just laying down, chewing their cuds, which is one of the healthiest signs for a cow. So we always ran around 9% of opens and lates. First year that we got onto it and we're using it full time, we managed to bring that number down to 3% of opens and lates, and it's kind of stayed between that 3 to 2% ever since then. So we've had great luck there. Our first cycle seemed to move up from about 50% in our first cycle to we were about 70% hitting the ground within that first 3-week window. So we were definitely happy to see that. It made it a lot busier calving season, but you know what? If we're treating less calves, that's more time that we have to be doing everything else. We're not going out and treating for scours 4, 5, 6 a day. We have one every couple of days. So it's a lot handier that way. It's time saving. We're saving on medication that we're having to put into them. If they're earlier born, you have a bigger calf that's being sold in the fall, and they just seemed healthier all around. About 2 years ago, when we went to year-round feeding, we had mostly half the herd was on tubs and half the herd was off of them. So it was a little trial that we were doing ourselves. And when it came time to sell, we found probably on average a 30-pound gain difference just on what was on the tubs. Now, that was big money when you're talking at those times, $2 a pound. It adds up quickly. We've started using them on our bulls, I think last year too, through the winter time. We wintered them with tubs. And you know what? It's the first year we didn't have to replace 3-4 bulls just because of the semen being low counts and motility and everything like that. So we find that it did help them. Maybe it was feed, but I have a feeling it's the first time we'd ran the bulls on it. So I have a good feeling that it was just because of a better mineral. When we went to do our testing and that, and everything came back a heck of a lot better than what it was in the past. So it's been great all around. We originally got it just for cows and calves, decided to try this with the bulls, and so we've seen similar gains definitely in the feed side. And then when we can see that in the bulls and not having to replace them every year, you know what? It's a huge difference. Between the feed costs and our breed back, how much we're saving that way. We're not having to sell, we're not having to replace as many, purchase more cattle to replace anything that's open. They, without a doubt, in my opinion, pay for themselves, and we gain on top of it. For the long term, we're great. We're gonna stick with it. By far, we've tried different products. Nothing has really compared for what we've seen at all. So this has been a very good, very viable solution for us and what we want. We want the healthiest herd that we can have. And so we feel great about it. Our cattle seem to be doing very well on them. We're very happy. We're gonna stick with the product through and through. We don't even want to bother trying something else at this point.